Can I now introduce the Director of the Australian Institute of Sport, Matthew Favier. Matt.
Thank you, Simon, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'd particularly like to thank the athletes who are present here today for the launch of Australia's Winning Edge, for whom, as Simon has already mentioned, that this launch is completely focused. And every athlete's story is unique, and as a former athlete, coach and now administrator, I know from experience that there are many paths to the podium. At the heart of the announcements today is a recognition that the AIS remains committed to supporting Australia's athletes on their individual journeys, and with a redefined focus on supporting Australia's high-performance aspirations. High-performance sport is dynamic and a contemporary business, with an international environment that is increasingly competitive. There was no better opportunity to experience the evolving nature of high-performance sport than with my time in the UK that included planning and preparation for the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games with UK sport. In London, Australia entered an environment and an Olympic and Paralympic competition where we experienced the full effect of the shift in investment and strategy from a number of nations, not just Great Britain. The London Games, however, enabled Great Britain to redefine its high-performance approach with a blueprint for investment, high-performance management and sport engagement, and Team GB's results now speak for themselves. In the short time I've been in post as AIS Director, I've had the opportunity to reflect on Australia's performance at the London Games and consider them in the context of our high-performance strategy in the future. A key shift in my area of work will be to redefine the AIS and the role of the AIS as Australia's high-performance agency, tasked with the strategic leadership of high-performance sport in Australia. And this includes assuming responsibility for all high-performance funding to partner sports. This function has previously been split across two divisions within the Australian Sports Commission. The other key change for the AIS is it will transition out of direct sports programs and focus on key areas of sport servicing and delivery: biomechanics, medicine, physiology, nutrition, innovation and research. I'm encouraged by the strong commitment across the sector to address areas of need and embrace a way of working that will increase our chances of repeated and sustained success. And it needs to be made very clear that the intent of the AIS isn't changing. Our overarching goal remains to work in collaboration with sports and the National Institute Network and sector partners to increase the likelihood that we will achieve international success for Australian athletes and teams. The role of the AIS will grow nationally, and as far as the iconic campus in Canberra is concerned, we expect it will be used more often by more people. Among the other benefits of our new approach are an increased leadership role across the National Institute Network to drive alignment and a more effective use of our collective resources, a more responsive and agile AIS workforce with the ability to adapt with speed to the needs of the high-performance sector, a sharpened focus for the AIS to add value to sports to assist in their attainment of our collective performance targets, a greater dialogue across the strategic management and performance solutions between the AIS and sports, an increased focus on brokering external partnerships to enhance performance across the educational and commercial sectors, and finally an increased international competitor intelligence and analysis capacity. I'd like to make just a few points on two of the most important groups of people in the high-performance game, being the athletes and coaches. In the first instance, it's essential that we provide a greater level of direct support to our athletes to cover the associated and vital daily training and lifestyle-related expenses. It's a massive misconception that athletes make, particularly those outside of professional sports, a fortune in sport. There are a few exceptions who profit after achieving remarkable success, but they are a tiny minority when you look across all sports. Just ask these guys here when you get a moment. There are hundreds of rowers, athletes, netballers, gymnasts, hockey players and other committed athletes who are struggling to secure the assistance required to represent their country. These athletes are competing because they love their sport and have a desire to be the best they can be without the prospect of significant financial reward. We need to provide the right support at the right time to assist athletes to get to the podium. And indeed, we should feel very comfortable with this idea that support is a good and worthwhile investment, and this investment into supporting Australia's best sportsmen and women. The reality of being an athlete is that you have to train full time and you have to be able to go to all corners of the globe for lengthy periods of time, even just to qualify for certain events. This lifestyle makes it impossible to hold down a full-time job or sometimes even a part-time job. There is a strong case to say that we've fallen behind in supporting our best athletes to pursue their role as athletes with ambitions to represent our country. A comparison against other competitor nations shows their levels of athlete support are consistently higher than the existing Australian schemes, and we have an obligation in this area to address this in the future. To support our coaches, the AIS Centre of Performance Coaching and Leadership will be positioned to improve and formalise a pathway of professional development for high-performance coaches and sport leaders. The approach will include formal education, professional development opportunities, mentoring and executive coaching programs. The Centre will support coaches at all stages of the pathway, world-class, developing international and potential international, and our aspiring performance leaders. We envisage a minimum intake of 30 scholars and leaders per year, which would lead to 90 graduates by Rio 2016 and 210 graduates by 2020. The competitive funding pool for sports will foster innovative ways for it to develop, attract and retain coaching and high-performance personnel in their chosen sport. We've outlined some very important initiatives here today that will hold our country's high-performance sports sector in very good stead as we head towards Rio, but also to 2020 and beyond. As has been outlined today, the sporting landscape has changed. And Australia's Winning Edge provides a shared direction for Australian high-performance sport, and the AIS looks forward to playing its role in leading the sector to deliver Australia's future international sporting aspirations. Thank you.